I've put this little video tutorial together on how you can take some long exposure still wall spinning photos. I tend to use the fantastic GoPro 7. Good thing about the GoPro 7 is it's fixed focus, which can be really handy for this sort of thing. It's weatherproof, very hardy, battery lasts pretty well on it, and it's got a neat feature built into it where you can do a night time lapse. And that's really useful because you can just set it up. You don't need to bother with the remote control, even though if you have got the GoPro remote control, that's extra handy as well. But I tend to just set it up, set the camera up, taking shot after shot after shot with about a 2 or 3 second exposure, and then get on with the job of doing the still wall. So how do you do the still wall spinning? Quite straightforward really. You need yourself a whisk. This is just a cheap metal whisk that you can get from most hardware stores. You need some kind of piece of cord so that you can attach to the end of it. So for example here I've attached with a small piece of chain and then some cord, and in fact a little handle here so it makes it easier to spin it, but you don't need anything as elaborate as that. I've done the same thing here just with a piece of string on there. Just grip on one end and give the thing a good spin. I'll show you a video shortly of it actually being spun and you can see it working, but the results look quite different to while you're doing the actual videoing of it. So we'll sort of put both of those in there in a bit. You need yourself a decent glove so you can protect the hand that you're doing the spinning with. Even though you could probably get away with it if you make something like this where you've got a handle with some kind of bearing on it. This is something taken from an old skipping rope. You also need a lighter. So I tend to use this jet lighter. The jet lighters are neat because even if it's a little bit windy, it'll still hold the flame long enough for you to light the still wall. And then you need some fine grain still wool. So this is actually extra fine, but this extra fine or fine, this burns a little bit quicker, so you get a shorter run with it. Whereas this is extra fine. The fine, however, is a little bit harder to light, but you get a longer burn for it, so you get a longer flow of sparks from it. So essentially, you get yourself a whisk, you get yourself some still wool. So this often comes like this in a roll, which you can just unroll and take what you need off of it. And I tend to go for about 8 to 10 inches of still wool, and then crumple it up, and then take your whisk like this, and then just stuff it inside, making sure it's as securely fixed inside there as can be, so it's just not going to suddenly lop out in one big lump. So once it's tucked in underneath there, nice and straightforward, then with your cord attached, so I'll cut to this one which has already got the chain on there. You light the still wool with your lighter after having set your camera going, doing the recording, and then you just spin it really fast and you get a shower of sparks, and it's the movement of those sparks over the time that the shutter's open that gives the really neat effect. And you can also do things like add a laser into the background if you want to add a little bit more colour. Some pictures you might see on screen now which show a laser in there as well. So this was a recent expedition to an underground cave that we found. Well, it's a tunnel actually, a disused railway tunnel, but it looks like a cave. And we spanned the steel wool up in there, and we had the laser shining up onto the roof just to give it a little bit more depth and a little bit more colour to it. A few extra things I might say you need to take along with you. One would be a big bottle of water. This can cause, I mean, at the end of the day, it's burning steel wool. So if it lands on anything that's at all flammable, the likelihood is it will set it on fire. So you need to be very careful about going around and stamping out anything that's burning afterwards or dousing it in water. As a general rule of thumb, I wouldn't do this anywhere near dry crops or dry land where you've got grass and things like that. I think they could catch on fire. An ideal thing is to go out the day after you've had a good rainstorm. I know that minimises or cuts down the number of days you could go out and do this, but safety is the most important thing. You don't want to be responsible for setting a big forest fire going or something like that. So yes, water, great, douse things down afterwards. Mostly just steel wool will give you some really good results. You can add other bits and pieces to it as well. Some of the pictures that we do, we take some magnesium, which you can get off of eBay and places like that, some magnesium strips and put in there, and you get some nice really bright white streaks that come out of it. But I would suggest you just go simple to start with some extra fine steel wool, maybe the fine steel wool, and do a few test runs on it. Have a go, it's really good. GoPro 7, highly recommend, really, really neat. That does the job for us. I've also used a Huawei phone and a Samsung phone. They both allow you to set an exposure, as in a shutter speed on it, down to multiple seconds. Most of the time, 2, 3, 4 seconds is about all you need. Much more than that, and you start to get the picture blowing out. It's just too bright. Much less than that, and you just won't get the same streaks on it. So have fun, have a go, and subscribe. Ding the ding dong bell, I think they say. That would be really cool. Thank you very much.